All right, I'm just going to dive right into this. If you already know what I'm on about, just pay attention to the tweaks that I'm making in ozone, EQ over here on the left, and Voxengo span spectrum analyzer here on the right. I'm going to be tweaking it as I go, and I'm starting off with ozone equalizer. It's set to mid-side, and it's on digital, which is supposed to make it non-linear phase EQ. And away we go. Steady as she goes, the semblance of calm. Not wanting to trigger any alarms. By the light of a billion crayon suns, you smile with your eyes as you think. To us, to believe that the summit of virtue is trust. Okay, wow. All I can say is wow. Where to begin? Well, if you've been following me on this quixotic quest of mine to figure out something that is actually, I think, pretty basic. It's really not all that difficult. It's just that I insist on doing things the hard way sometimes. I think part of it is that YouTube is just so full of clickbait and spam. Not spam in the sense of like email spam, but you know what I mean. I come from a time when the spam as a slang word was a little bit different. Before the onset of internet and email, we used the word spam just to talk about content of inferior quality, of superficial and or inferior quality. And I just don't like being inundated with just clickbait, all trying to grab my attention, tell me that I'm doing things wrong. Here's how you're doing everything wrong. Here's how to do everything right. And if you lack a frame of reference, I mean, how am I qualified to judge what's good and bad advice if I don't know, right? So I just prefer to take clues from universe. Does it make sense? I take clues from my environment. It's called, it's an ancient tradition, okay? People used to have different ways of using their intuition to accomplish things. I'm old school that way. So, case in point, So anyway, I just like learning through trial and error. And I find that I own the knowledge a little bit more that way. So, case in point, okay? So I spend very little time watching tutorial videos on this stuff on YouTube. Most of my YouTube time I spend watching other stuff, okay? I don't use YouTube to school myself on audio work very much. I use it to find free plugins and whatnot. But anyway, so it did cross my radar, linear phase EQ. And I'm not going to get into explaining that. If you know what that is, you know what that is. If you know that everything, almost everything in the world, there's a trade-off, right? So you can use linear phase EQ to for its intended application. Then it can produce things like ringing artifacts and other shit, right? But I got it into my head to use some kind of linear phase EQ. And one thing led to another, and I already had Ozone, Izotope Ozone, this free EQ plugin. I already had it downloaded and installed, but never used it very much. And I got it into my head some time ago that, EQing in the master bus is something that you should only do if you know what you're doing from a mastering point of view. So I just never did it until, so just very recently I tried TDR Nova dynamic EQ in the master bus, and I just didn't get results that were striking or impressive enough. So I abandoned that idea. Then I tried it in same approach in individual tracks, same. Just didn't see the point. But having studied it out a little bit, I thought, maybe I have enough understanding now to try using this Izotope Ozone EQ in the master bus on digital, because apparently, there's two settings, analog and digital, and apparently if you have it in digital, it's acting as a linear phase EQ. And so as you could see, it made a difference. It made a difference not only visually in the Voxengo Span spectral analyzer, but it made a difference to my ears and brain. I thought it sounded better. And especially during the solo section, which I'm about to go back and replay and A/B this thing during that, I could really hear that synth solo that's slightly panned, well, it's 30 degrees to the right. The guitar solo is panned 30 to the left. I'm hard of hearing in my left ear, so I can't hear that guitar solo too clear. But for the first time, I could really hear that synth solo. And it seemed very much, again, I didn't do this. I saw that this was making a difference, and I just sat down and I thought, okay, I'm just going to make the video, see what happens. So that was my first pass. But I felt that synth solo is, it has a very comfortable place in the mix for the first time. So again, this is my preliminary impression. It's highly positive. And if this is old hat to you and you're saying, well, of course, dummy, well, okay, that's fine. I'm not that kind of channel. I'm not trying to be smart or impress anybody. I'm trying to learn, and I have a very small number of people who pay attention who are also learning, and appreciate my willingness to put my learning curve out there for edification and ridicule. All right, so now one issue that I did here when I soloed the drums early on, it did, having this EQ in the signal path to my ears in that moment, it did somewhat affect the sound of the hi-hats, the hi-hat in the drums. That has been an issue since I first started on this learning curve. It was an extremely annoying issue when I started out simply adjusting mid-side gains in the master bus. It was a disaster. Now, I noted that there was some a little bit of a change in the sound of the hi-hat. So I'm going to be turning my attention back to that. But it was not it wasn't a non-starter. It wasn't a deal breaker as far as that was my initial impression. So now I'm going to go back to, I'm going to go back to the solo section, and I want to make a second pass during that section, just A being ozone. This is ozone 11, by the way, ozone 11. As you can see, we've got mid here, side here. And the way you enter that mode is this button right here, this drop down. You got stereo, mid, side, left, right, transient, sustain. I'm going to have to look into transient sustain. That's probably useful on drums, I'm thinking. Anyway, we're in mid, side, and we are right here. I know this looks like a ridiculously long chain in the master bus, but these last 5 here are all meters. All right. And just so you know, this is Relife. It's technically an exciter, I think. This is just something I always use because I like what it does. This is my bus compressor. Tone boosters, bus compressor. It's on simple compression, ratio 2.5. It is on the mid-side setting. That's a call that I make to taste according to the project. On this one, I like it. Mid-side with a pan of 53.5. Makeup is at 0. Okay. So that's that. And I've got Tone Boosters Real Bus. Tape machine emulator, which I love. It's extremely useful for what I'm trying to accomplish. And that's on the over biasing preset. Air windows consolidated. This is something that's on every master bus. 2 tape 8 at these settings. This is something that is also on almost every master bus that I do. This is Ferric TDS MK2. Just set to default. No preset. Everything, all the dials down, but it just provides a little bit of glue that is indispensable to me, I find. After that, Air Windows Zoom, a mastering distortion, technically a distortion. It's a peak energy modulator. I will be replacing that with a newer Air Windows tool momentarily. It's a very subtle thing, very subtle indeed. And then I've got Air 4. This just does something to filter out any treble over slews. Okay, this is in consideration to the listener to prevent ear and brain fatigue. It's something that you can't hear directly. And then we've got our ozone right there. And then we've got, this is a gain stager because as I'm still mixing, I don't want to, every time I add a part or whatever, I don't want to have to re-level everything. So I just use this as a very transparent gain stager at the very end. So I can just adjust it to keep, I like to keep everything around minus 14 lux integrated. While I work, I just find that more pleasant while I work, not just for upload to YouTube or Spotify or whatever, which I'm not doing anyway. But that's all that is. And then everything after that is just meters. All right. So, so you can see the issue was, once again, in the spectrum analyzer, there was not enough gap in the mids and trebles between the mids image and the mid image and the sides image. They were running neck and neck with the mid frequently overcome. God, I keep getting these mixed up. The sides kept overrunning the mid, resulting in these little flashes of kind of a salmon pink color. Okay? And as you can see, once again, I'll show it once again just in case you missed it the first time. Once I got ozone engaged, it just took care of it just right away. I'm just going to, I'm going to keep these on while I go through this solo section again. And God, this is annoying. Cakewalk is annoying me tonight. God. All right. I'm going to start about right there. And I'm going to be A-Bing. I'm going to give it a little bit of running start and start A-Bing. Now, I have I've got the Voxengo span adjusted to both mid and side images or monitoring adjusted to a block size of 256 with an average time of just over 5,000. And that's resulting in a more generalized graphic representation, which is not so instantaneous. It's just kind of averaging things, smearing it out over time a little bit, so that when I disengage ozone, it's going to take a few seconds for that gap to disappear. And then when I re-engage ozone, it's going to take a few seconds for that gap to reappear. But if you missed it the first time, you'll see what I mean. I want the gap between the two colors on the meter to the right. I want that gap between the two colors if you're new to this. That's what I'm going after here. And I'm trying to accomplish that without any detriment to the sound. And if possible, I want it to sound better. That's the goal. That's the idea. Okay. You see, okay. So here we go. Here's the bypass button over here where the cursor is. Bypassed. See the gap disappearing over here. The little flashes of, little slivers of pink beginning to appear. Now, engage. See the gap beginning to emerge? That's what I want. Okay, now we're moving into the bridge. I still have these spikes north of 10K. I don't know that's anything to worry about. This is why I did this low pass in the mids. This is that lo-fi vocal part doing this right here. I don't think it's anything to worry about. Anyway, here comes the solo part. So listen to the solo first, bypassed. Here we go. Engaged. Okay, to my ears, man, that synth solo on the right is more clear. I can hear it better. It just sounds better all around. Again, I can't. I got to switch the headphones on my head to say the same thing about the guitar track. That's the guitar solo that's panned somewhat to the left. But I'm pretty confident that that's sounding just fine. Okay, so is this the last word on this issue for me? I don't know. But this is definitely progress. Now, the last thing that remains for me to think about for now is I was listening. Okay. I'm going to do this one more time, and I'm just going to kind of A-B it as I go. I'm going to be listening to the crash cymbals. And just seeing what kind of diff I can hear with the crash cymbals with ozone on and off. So first, off. Okay, on. All right, I'm not hearing anything that bothers me. There's maybe a slight difference. Now I'm gonna solo the drum track. By the way, if you're the type of person that, yes, this is my monster drum virtual instrument. I can't pull it up right now because the track is frozen. Yes, it is a virtual instrument. No, I don't have it split up into separate tracks for the different drums. I've got a whole drum kit on one track. I'm not going for that kind of sound. Okay, I'm going for a live sound, a band on a big stage at an outdoor venue. Recorded with a Sony PCM D50 from 50 to 100 yards. But hi-fi. Okay? It's by design, okay? No, I don't like the drum kit pumping like you're in the room with it all the time. I'm not going after that kind of sound, okay? All right, now I'm going to solo the drum track and A-B the ozone. Hear what it's doing to the cymbals and the hi-hat. Okay, so first, bypassed. That's far enough. Engaged again. So just listen to that first crash. Bypassed. Yes, there's a tiny bit of an issue there. Tiny, though. And it's not something that anybody's going to notice. I doubt you're even going to notice. All right, well, here's something I'm going to try. Here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to load yet another plug-in. If you don't already know about Air Windows Consolidated, then I'm not going to say that you're living under a rock. It's not like that, but it's definitely something that you want to check out. Utilities and monitoring 2. I think that's the one I want. And choose mono. And let's hear this mono. Let me see. I want to keep this on another screen. Okay. Here we go. Hello? Oh, yeah. All right. Now we're going to listen to those cymbal crashes in mono. Ozone bypassed. Wow, there's some swooshing there. Which one is worse? I don't know. I think they're different, but they're both equally swishy. This is not over yet, right? Because I think that the crashes shouldn't be swooshy in mono, no matter what. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Well, I'm going to have to look into it. I'm going to try to keep this video a little on the shorter side. So, anyway, that's progress. I'm going to finish this one out here for now, and I'm going to move on to another mix. Probably make another video and see if this little success is repeatable in another mix, and I'll make another short video for that. Okay, that's it from lovely, scenic Padre City, South Korea. I am Lean Bear. If you're struggling with alcohol and you need help quitting, please read the video description and channel description. I've got contact info in there. Reach out. Maybe you could get into making music at home. It can help you. Maybe, it helped me. So reach out. I'll help if I can. Okay. See you on the flip side. Over and out.